to a TMC video interview. We're thrilled to have you here today. On our program is Nabeel Mahmood. He is the Managing Director of the Americas at SCB Global. And Nabeel, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thank you very much for inviting me, Rich.
Thrilled to have you here. We're going to make everyone a little bit jealous. I'm in Connecticut. There's at least a foot of snow left on the ground, melting slowly. Tell us where you are, just to rub it in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got London in the background, but I live in Hawaii. Yeah, it's one temperature all year long, roughly about 80 degrees. So I can't really complain.
So our next interview after COVID, if you don't mind, I'm going to be flying there. So if that's okay.
You've got it. We will do it at the beach somewhere.
It's even better. So for those people who may not be familiar with SCB Global, tell us, what does the company do?
So we are a Microsoft Teams partner, primarily focusing on UCaaS, which is Unified Communication as a Service, and SD-WAN, so Software-Defined Wide Area Network. We've been in the telco space from about 2004. That's where we started. We were owned by Zamir Telecom out of UK. Being in telco in about 2013 timeframe, we decided to move into voice over IP, and since then we've actually expanded our presence from Europe to Australia to the Middle Eastern countries, and now finally to Americas. So Americas, we formed the company or expanded our footprint here in November of last year.
Well, congratulations. It's great. It's a good time to be in technology, certainly telecommunications, just with all the things happening in the market with work from home and just the shift to teleworking, remote working. It's been incredible. And, you're quite a visionary in this space. Would you mind just give us a little bit of history, just for those people who may not know who you are? Just give us like 30 seconds on your background.
So the way I classify and describe myself as a digital nomad. I've been talking about digital transformation for about 20 years, pretty much my entire career. The idea to be able to work remotely and anywhere, whereby the mindset in the past is the performance has been measured, or the success of a company has been measured by the number of bums in a seat or the cars in a parking lot. Now, we are digital nomads. I mean, we can work from anywhere. We don't have to go to a physical office with the tool set that's available today. So I have been calling myself a digital nomad or a nomad CXO. Been in the industry of data centers, telecommunications for about 2 decades. So this is home.
That's great. And your timing being involved with this firm it couldn't be any better, because the area that you're focusing on is this digital transformation, workplace as a service, or digital workplace. Or tell me a little bit about exactly how you describe it, what it is, and how it differs from just like the traditional teleworking that we rushed into in 2020.
So digital transformation before 2019 was a hype. We talked about it, but we didn't understand it. And when I say we, I'm generalizing the industry. When COVID hit in March of 2019, it became obvious that we've got to continue and sustain our businesses, potentially even grow the businesses. The challenge was that we could not get those people into an office space. So what do you do with it? You've got to develop an infrastructure, an environment that people can actually work remotely and still be productive and still be connected. So that is when digital transformation became a norm. Now, as far as we at SCB Global are concerned, we believe digital transformation is history, it's past, it's the new norm. Now the new challenge is, and what we're trying to resolve is workforce transformation. So digital transformation is basically an element to a workforce transformation and business transformation. So the future of computing, the future of the workforce is remote. You will see that efficiencies have actually increased significantly over the years. Now, when I look at it on a global basis and being a Microsoft partner, what's kind of interesting is the daily collaboration minutes within the Microsoft user community is roughly about 30 billion minutes daily. That's a massive number, right? But people are being productive. You're spending quality time. You're getting, a life and work balance, which we actually have missed in the last 3 decades of corporate culture. whereby you don't have to commute 4 hours a day to get to work. Now you've got the quality of life. You can actually do something with that 4 hours. Go spend time with family, go do things that you have not done before, right? And that getting away from the traffic jams and commute hours is actually giving different perspective to people. So we believe as we move along that there's going to be some sort of a balance. There will be people working remotely, there will be people working in a physical office, but it's going to increase collaboration, it's going to increase efficiencies. So we are looking into workforce transformation as the next big thing.
Makes good sense. I mean, certainly there are hundreds of millions of people who are forced to work at home, or at least not in their traditional offices that they were in. And we talked a little bit off camera. I'm one of those people. I've been at home for a long time, and now we've kind of gotten used to it, and we're seeing the productivity benefits. There are some downsides as well, which I think we need to take into account. But once you get over those and you account for some of the challenges with, always working from the same location that you live, you find that still you have so many more hours in the week because commute times are now zero, right? Personally, I was commuting, trips into Manhattan included. I could be commuting on average maybe 2 hours a day sometimes, some weeks, and then that doesn't include the flying, right? So I was doing a lot of flying. And so how much downtime was there when I was getting to an airport and waiting, and the security and all that? So the point is that there's a lot more, I guess, untapped human potential that we're now putting to work. And what you guys are helping to do is to maximize that potential by allowing people to be as productive as possible, it sounds like, right? Wherever they are.
Absolutely. So it's about improving that experience of the user, of the workforce, the ability to work remotely or on-prem. I mean, it's going to be a choice. It's no longer just a perk that Nabeel was able to work remotely because he was an executive in an organization. It's going to become a norm whereby you've got certain jobs that can work remotely. People can work remotely, and they probably might be a lot more productive than they were whilst they were commuting to work or being in a physical office space. So we are going to see a significant culture change within corporate world that people, when given an option, and knowing that the KPIs are going to be different now versus the number of bums in a seat or the number of cars in the parking lot, to what you really do. In my digital nomad experience, what I've found is the mindset of working 40 hours a week is probably not the right mindset. It's what you do and how you do it, what you produce, and what quality of material you produce. So you don't have to be in office. Now, the executives in the company are going to see a lot of savings as well, but on the P&L, like you mentioned, Rich, that you're not commuting. So, the soft cost of the travel expense, right? The soft cost of your time and giving you that quality experience back is imperative, right? It just changes your mindset. Now you've got the creative juices flowing and you're doing things differently that you probably did not have time to conceptualize and put it on paper. It gives you that ability to do so. With that also comes the importance of discipline and leadership. So you've got to be disciplined enough to turn off your device after a certain number of hours that you put in. Otherwise, we're going to be, in front of the screen nonstop. So you've got to establish some rules, and that comes from leadership within the business as to what the expectations are. So with our teams, for instance, right now as SCB Global, being a global company, and the fact that all of us are experiencing the same thing and we are stuck at homes, it has not affected our efficiencies at all. As a matter of fact, it's helped people. It's connected us. Like Reagan used to say, the reason why he was the best president of the United States was because he was in everyone's home. So think of it that way, right? You're in my home, I'm in yours as we record the session. If it was any other given day, we would be sitting in a studio somewhere.
I mean, yeah, exactly, exactly. So for me, this was a little bit, it took me some time to get used to doing all my interviewing remotely, but you get used to it. You get accustomed to it, and there are obviously some benefits as well to being able to have access to people anywhere to interview on a moment's notice, which is something we couldn't do when we did these interviews purely face to face. So now, a decision maker that is focusing on transformation of the workforce, or of just how the people in the company are getting things accomplished, uh, they're going to come to you. So what are you going to provide them, and why do they need to come to you? So what are the pains that you're going to take away for the decision makers that are watching this video right now, trying to figure out, hey, do I need SCB Global because I have this initiative to allow my workforce to be productive from anywhere in the world, and I want to take advantage of some of these things transforming business, transforming the technology that's just evolving the way we do things.
Yeah, so the way we go about things is that we want to be a part of the business. We want to be a partner in our client's business, right? We want to be able to understand what the challenges they have and what do they envision as to how the corporate is going to look like in the near future. Now, there's a lot of technologies out there, and we know that, right? And I'm not going to stand over here and say I have zero competition. There is competition. There's always going to be competition. What we do is we are the trusted advisor. We want to understand the business case and present a solution, and we want to help guide and steer you in the right direction. So
it's
what
on
we do,
a consulting capacity.
absolutely, right? I mean, and we're perfectly fine with walking away if it's not the right thing for you. Okay. But being in the voice over IP and being a digital nomad and understanding how telephony works, how collaboration and tools work, how contact center works, and the importance of security at the user level in a remote location. When you actually take a user away and give them a VPN tunnel and put them in a remote location, that does not solve the problem. So we are able to connect those dots. We're able to provide security layer. We are able to enhance the user experience, which our competitors are not typically talking about, right? They're talking about networking. They're talking about PBX to telephony. They're talking about collaboration tools, but they're all silos. What we are doing is we are bridging the gap. We're enhancing the user experience, and we're providing one solution within one platform. So as a user, you don't have to leave a platform and go from one means of communication, for instance, just say Slack, to a local area network device, which is on a VPN tunnel, so you can do your document storage or access documents, and then go to another application to make and receive a phone call as a soft phone on your desktop. We can do all of that under one platform in one tool, so your user stays within that platform, which simplifies the user experience, which increases the productivity. Now, I came across a study recently that an average person wastes about 60 to 75 minutes a day just navigating through platforms. A good example is with interviews like this and podcasts and whatnot that I fairly get invited to. Half the time I've got to adjust my microphone and speaker.
Sure.
Right? Now,
Yes.
if you stay within one platform, it's enhancing the user experience, and it'd probably give me another 60 to 75 minutes a day.
Without a doubt. I mean, there's frustration also. Maybe something not mentioned as often as my desktop that I got after COVID. At first, I had a laptop. It had 8 gig of RAM, and one of the challenges I faced was I had to open up all these different applications, Zoom and maybe Uber Conference and a few others, Teams, and the amount of memory I was taking up with this 8 gigabyte, which is a relatively new laptop. But I didn't have the headroom just to be able to do the work I needed to do in the laptop. And with that laptop, and I was going to get a new laptop, and then I realized, why don't I just get a desktop and just load it with memory? So on my desktop, it's fine. But with the current laptop that I have, that's I think it's maybe just a year plus old. I'm limited by just all the how many applications can I have open at once and be productive? I have multiple mailboxes that I have to have open. So that's yet another issue. How much memory, how high power of these machines that we're going to provide, especially if you have a team of 1,500 workers, and each person has to have a laptop with an additional $500 worth of memory, and depending on what laptop it is. Point is that simplifying not only reduces the amount of time that people are doing task switching and some of the productivity issues, there's actual physical costs or CapEx costs that come along with having to have multiple applications open simultaneously to get the job done. So, and there's also the windowing, right? It's difficult. You've got this window, you have to open that window. It's just, anything that can be done to reduce complexity and allow the worker to focus on the job, the career, which is what you got back to, is the KPIs, right? Or this we used a little bit earlier. We need to focus on the KPIs. What are you getting done? What are you getting accomplished? And helping me accomplish more with less red tape with my software is a great, great place to be. I think as more companies realize the value that you're adding by taking that pain away, the better position you guys will be in, and certainly the users within the company that adopt this kind of technology are also going to be better off, and they'll be happy for it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of like there is a saying: your wife is happy, you're happy, sort of thing. If your employees and your people are happy, your customers, the final end customer, is going to be happy. So it's enhancing the internal experiences, which are going to eventually enhance the external experiences of the end user.
I think it's happy wife, happy life. I think what it.
There you go. Yeah.
Not very familiar with the concept, but I that's what I hear. That's how it works. So hopefully my wife doesn't watch my videos. I don't think so. So I think I'm.
Yeah. Well, you said it better than me. So there you have it. You'll get a few kudos.
So Nabeel, what's next for the company? Like, so someone's looking to buy from you. They want to make a decision. What else should they know about SCB Global and why they should be working with you, and other things you can provide for them?
Yeah. So basically, at the end of the day, we are not necessarily a sales organization per se. We want to understand the business and make sure that the solutions that we're discussing are the right solutions to help our partners, our customers grow. We want to be a strategic partner to those companies. That's really our core differentiator. What's next for us as an organization is that we want to simplify and enhance experiences of the teams. We want to provide that level of security. We want to provide that, people talk about that single pane of glass. We are the single pane of glass. I mean, it's overhyped in the industry, but we want to keep people within one platform whereby we increase efficiencies and productivity, enhance experiences. So what's next? I mean, there's going to be some AI stuff that's going to be coming along, artificial intelligence, not in an overhyped, but more of a practical way. We are going to, we are working on the security aspect of things as well, whereby data is the gold rush. I mean, I call it the data rush era that we live in currently. So we want to make sure that as more and more data, and particularly with voice, that's getting embedded, we are able to provide that security and privacy to the user and to the organization. So that's some of the cool stuff that we're currently working on.
That's fantastic. And then in terms of just reaching out to you, what's the best way with just give us a web address just so we have it.
Yeah, so the web address is scb-global.com. That's the global website for us.
And they can follow you. I noticed you have a good amount of content on Twitter, and right, so they could just, if they want to follow you and what you're doing. Yeah,
so if they want to follow a digital disruptive nomad, my hashtag is not my hashtag. My handle is Nabeel Mahmood, my first name, last name. So fairly easy to track down.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here. It was a real pleasure, and hopefully we'll do the next one in Hawaii.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me, Rich.